Hey guys, Cam for 15 back at it with another video for you guys. Back with another episode review of Go Go Loser Ranger. As I'm on my catch-up review spree of shows that I missed this past week due to work stuff. And man, was this episode really good. Getting the backstory about Hisui, and understanding why she's the character she is today. Kind of actually humanizing her character in terms of the fact like she was actually a sweet girl until like shit got crazy and everything. But yeah, and honestly, I thought, well, actually no, I didn't think that this arc would be concluding. I figured it would be concluding in like an episode, in at least two, maybe three episodes. Maybe next week is gonna be the final part of this little arc we got going on here before we jump into, I guess, the back half of the season, and in terms of where the story's gonna go there. But like, we still got to kill the boss monster, and it's gonna be interesting. So I'll actually be shocked if like by the end of next episode, which I believe would be episode 6, we're still on this arc. But yeah, but anyways, we got left off on the cliffhanger where D was basically kicked out and removed from the this like imaginary school like playground area, right? And he's just wondering what he should do. But then you see the two detectives that we saw earlier in this season. They show up, and basically D's like, "Hey man, the Ranger Force was investigating here, and then all of a sudden we were like transported into like the school like setting, and this is what happened, and like there's a boss monster in there that's doing everything and messing everything up, right?" So at first they don't believe him, but then they eventually do believe him, right? So that's when the detectives go inside of the school, and when they go inside, that's when the school warps back to what it was, and they're just like, wait, what the hell just happened here? And that's when they run into our dude Wakaba, right? And basically Wakaba's like, hey, look, I need you to work with me. And we find out like the detectives were actually going after Wakaba, right? But essentially they work together, and they confront essentially the one principal dude, right? Well, actually, no. I think Wakaba is the principal of the school, the one guy that's been helping us, right? And he's kind of just been, hanging around with Hisui, and at this point, we kind of have it to where Hisui just kind of just breaks down, and she just gives in, and she gives in because we get a flashback to her past. So in her past, she basically lost everything, right? She lost her family to a monster that attacked her, I guess her town or her home or whatever. And she got taken in and adopted by this other family, right? And this one girl who's her best friend, I guess you could say adopted sister too, was like, it's okay, he's sweet, we're your new family and everything. It's okay, you're gonna be with us, right? And you just see how like through the years, like they were best of friends and they enjoyed each other's company, and Hisui was being a nice girl and everything. Now there was one instance where she does grab her friend, she goes grab her friend kind of hard, and her friend's like, oh, that kind of hurt, and she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And obviously her friend's like, ah, it's okay, you just did that by accident. But then when she overhears about like this dude who was speaking about how actually monsters aren't that bad, they're actually some good monsters out there, and they honestly don't need to be persecuted the way they are, she ends up like beating the hell out of this dude, right? Like legitimately beating the hell out of this dude, to the point like when her friend comes up, her friend was all shocked, and she's like, hey, come on, let's go home. And she's got all like this blood and everything over her hands and her face, and her friend was just freaked the hell out and scared. And because of what she did, well, she basically enlisted into the Ranger Force. And you just have it where at some point, she saw like her friend, and her friend's just living the life of just being a regular school student. Well, she's basically just living the life of a ranger, and kind of how the two dichotomies of her life shifted. And it kind of and this episode kind of gives perspective of the fact like you can tell Hisui wants that type of like chill, lax, normal person probably normal job like lifestyle. But because of the situation she was in her past, it gave her trauma when this guy brought up the monster stuff, and she's like, and she beat this dude up, and it's like a different path, and you kind of see how she's like, screw it, I'm done with fighting. I just want to be a regular, schoolgirl like I was supposed to be, right? And she actually gives in to the whole allure of the school, and you can easily tell, like, that's the thing. Eventually what happens is um freaking the principal calls the big heavy. I think his name was Goto or something, right? And he looks to and the dude starts to like beat obviously the detectives and then our other informant up, but they end up getting the upper hand on him a bit. Now one of the detectives goes after Hisui, right? And you have it to where the principal dude, I think, or Wakaba, which I think is his name, he's actually about to kill Hisui, right? But then that's when the detective comes and punches. But we find out, plot twist, it was actually Fighter D pretending to be the detective and using his illusions, right? So I don't know if he maybe revealed himself to those detectives, to say like, hey, I'm actually just a monster, a fighter monster. I'm actually trying here to do this stuff. This is my plan or whatever. I just want to help my friends out, right? Quote unquote friends, right? So maybe the detectives let it slide, right? And basically you just have it to where now Hisui sees this. Like Hisui's like a monster. And basically Fighter D goes up against the president or against Wakaba, who has the ancient weapon thing, right? And he's just making like basically all these columns and stuff like that. But eventually, through talking, he ends up getting Hisui to snap out of it, and Hisui and Fighter D look to work together to take down Wakaba. And essentially, also to while this is all going on, Wakaba made a rule where it's like, okay, yep, you're able to basically do whatever you want, students. So if you want to, you can break school rules. So they got a time limit to try to defeat this guy before shit resets all over again, right? And eventually gets to the point where even freaking our big old heavy Goto, he, excuse me, he ends up helping out in this situation and stuff like that. But they end up taking down Wakaba and everything because he tried to like stall for time, but they end up taking him down. So that's the thing. And realistically now, they gotta look for the boss monster and finish the boss monster off to get everybody out of this loop, right? But overall, a really damn good episode. Now I have to wonder too, does Hisui now know that Fighter D is a fighter monster? Because she did see him, and she did see him, even though she was in that trance state. She did see him. So does she still remember some things from the trance? I bet you she probably does. And everything. So if she does, maybe she knows, like, hey, this dude's a monster deep down. So I don't know if she'll confront him about that and say, I know you're a damn monster. Don't try to hide it from me. Why did you infiltrate us? What the hell are you doing? And maybe this is another person he gets on his side, because we know freaking I think her name is, I forgot, the Yellow Ranger lieutenant, right? She wants to see the fall of this Ranger Force. She wants the truth to be exposed. So maybe Hisui, I guess sides with that whole thing of saying like, well, I guess you seem like a good dude, and that's right. The Ranger Force does do things that honestly isn't that of what a Ranger should do. But yeah, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see as it goes on, right? And then we do get a post-credit scene where, if you remember from last episode, that one monster that was at that theme park that attacked everybody there, and while the Red Ranger was basically at this party, basically everywhere, the Red Ranger's like little monster dude or whatever, it's like, hey, there's something that happened, and basically walks over and he kind of proclaims like, oh, nothing happened, blah 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 blah. But we find out like this monster basically killed that student and that kid and created a lot of bloodshed. So don't know where that storyline or that plot line's gonna go, but clearly the Red Ranger ain't doing a good enough of his job. But again, another good episode of Go Lose a Ranger. Really intrigued to see where we go for the next episode. But other than that, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. If you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts. Hit that subscribe button if you want to get more Go Lose a Ranger content or any other anime content I upload to the channel. Till then, guys, stay safe out there. Have a great rest of your day or your night or when you're sharing this video. Until then, guys, peace.